What is up, everyone? I'm Brian Mansell, joined alongside Matthew Panico, Tyler Pandolfo, Tim Cecere, and Joe Capri, as we give you the latest news with the NBA and college basketball here on Off the Court. On this edition, we are giving you a preview to the Final Four matchups between Michigan State, Texas Tech, and Virginia Auburn. Afterwards, we will also offer our takes on the NBA playoffs and who has the biggest chance of making and winning the NBA Finals. Now, there were many upsets over the past four matchups this weekend in the Elite Eight round of March Madness. Duke and Gonzaga's collapse, along with the rise of Auburn to the Final Four. What do you guys take on that? What do you think was the biggest upset and shock from this whole past round?
I mean, none of it, because Duke is nothing without Zion Williams. They are obviously an overrated team, and Michigan State deserved to win that game.
No. I made this point to a friend of mine earlier today. It was more interesting that Duke got out-coached yesterday. It wasn't because the talent on Michigan State was necessarily better than the talent on Duke. It was because Coach K couldn't keep up with the coach from Michigan State. And that's more reputable than saying that, we have great players on Duke. They got out-coached with a team who had one of the greatest coaches.
But you also need great players to implement those plays.
Sure, no.
So you can't, you're like downplaying Michigan State's players. Their talent is among the best, obviously, if they make the Final Four. The fact that Coach K was out-coached, simple fact. But let me tell you something. If I out-coach Tyler right now, that's an example. That's
not going to happen.
You're right directly.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, whatever. I'm not having this conversation with you. If I out-coach you, that means nothing if my players suck. If my players suck and they can't keep up with your players, my playbook means nothing. So the fact of the matter is Michigan State was overall the better team. Michigan State had the better talent. They had the better coaching. And honestly, let's deconstruct Duke as a whole. Zion Williamson, possibly LeBron James caliber player coming from high school and first-year college. I'm just going to say that. You have R.J. Barrett. You have one more star player. And then after that, who do you have? You have nobody. You have Michigan State, which is an actually core team where every single player has a piece to the puzzle. So, I mean, they outclassed them in terms of talent and in coaching. You cannot have a good coach without the players.
I'm arguing that Coach K is one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time, and the fact that Duke, in fact, was out-coached despite having better players.
They don't have better players, though.
First of all, you talk like Derek Fisher coached that team. This is Coach K we're talking about, one of the best coaches of all time.
I'm saying, yeah, okay, which is great, but we're downplaying the fact that Michigan State is an overall great team. We're downplaying that.
On paper, they're not better than Duke on paper.
Yes, they. My man, it doesn't matter if you're good on paper. If you're good on the court, it doesn't matter if you're good on paper.
So they won the game. It doesn't mean they're better than Duke on paper.
Dude, who's getting drafted come June? Are the players?
Wait. Why are we talking about who's getting drafted?
We're talking about who are the better players.
We're talking about an upset. And honestly,
we're talking about the coach. You brought up how this coach got out-coached.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Tim actually said that, and I just played off that. That's what I did. I didn't make the main point.
Argue too, though, that the players on Duke are better.
Not all of them. You have three better players.
It's an overall better team.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's an position
talking
compared
about
to Michigan State.
Thank you. If they were an overall better team, they would have won the game. Plain and simple.
It's called an upset. It's called an upset.
But I'm telling you that my whole point of this conversation is that it's not an upset because Michigan State is being downplayed by Duke. Because Duke is Duke. They're being treated how ESPN treats LeBron James. That they can do no wrong.
Come on.
You could easily cite that back to the other two games that had happened with Duke where they lost off lucky shots that were missed. That was also Coach K being outcoached in the past two matchups as well.
Well, you want to talk about lucky shots, though. Zion still had to make that play in the UCF game with Taco Fall and the foul at the N1 at the very last seconds. That's more of they're doing, I would say, than a lucky play.
Yeah, that wasn't a lucky play. That was more like the players taking a leadership role.
Therefore, though, you got to give credit where credit's due, man.
Okay. Out of all the teams that lost this past weekend, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think was the biggest team that missed out? That should have been in there. Starting with Matthew.
Who lost again?
Okay. So Texas Tech knocked out Gonzaga this weekend.
I mean, I think Gonzaga missed out, but I wouldn't say they. I know, it's like a hard question to ask. Like, what do you mean? Like, who had the biggest
Basically,
potential?
who like played their hearts out, who had the potential to move on into the Final Four, but unfortunately didn't make it through?
I think Gonzaga. Gonzaga was a favorite. They had an overall great team. Everyone was saying how Gonzaga was the top tier players, and I think, they always play their heart out, but they always, they lost. I mean, I think all the teams played their hearts out. I don't think there is one team over the other that necessarily did more than everyone else. But I would say Gonzaga because I guess they were the best among the top ranked teams to go forward.
That makes sense. Tim, what do you think? Who do you think deserved to go into the next round?
I'm not even a fan, but I gotta say Duke again though, man. I'm not a diehard Duke fan, but I gotta say all the hype, players, everything going on in the season. The fact that they didn't even make it to the Final Four, come on, people. That's the biggest upset this weekend.
You're right. Joe, what about you? Who do you think was the biggest team that should have moved on?
I put St. Francis College to win.
Not even in the.
I think I lost.
We all lost, Joe. We all
They
lost.
lost in the first round.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what.
I was confused on what happened.
Oh, they lost to Hampton first round?
No, Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah,
they
Mount St.
lost.
Mary's.
Mount
Hampton
St.
was the
Mary's.
CI whatever.
Oh, okay. I was
You
thinking-
know, they were. Yeah, I know. They were 3 seed.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't win.
Well,
the
you're right
NCAA
there.
brackets tournament thing. You know how people get it all correct or whatever? There's 0. I thought I was going to win.
That's unfortunate. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
the odds are so hard to win those
I don't
brackets.
care. I'm me. I want to win St. Francis.
Well, I know this was last week, but I really thought Villanova put together a good team.
No, they're trash.
I don't
What are you,
think I
talking
cannot
about?
overrated
They had
fans.
expectations.
They
They're
overrated
defending
fans.
champs.
Tyler,
Defending
You're
champs.
overrated.
They're not a good. I know I am overrated, honestly. I mean, let's be honest. But no, Villanova, they lost a lot of seniors last year.
Yeah, I know that,
they're not
but
gonna-
again, the expectation, they were, I know it's not really year to year anymore. I mean, they had expectations. They're
Yeah,
defending
but
champions.
whoever had expectations was
All
an
right,
idiot.
but their
Let's
loss
be
was an
honest.
upset. It was an upset.
Yeah, it was an upset, but in actuality, it wasn't. But
Yes, it was an
No, it
upset.
wasn't.
How so?
because the whole system of ranking teams is stupid because you have people behind a desk voting on who's being ranked. It's not actually about the records.
So you thought that Purdue was a better team on paper than Villanova?
I wouldn't go that far.
I would. I'd go that far.
I
and say
mean,
Purdue
that's
plays
a
far better game than Villanova.
That's an
does.
argument, but I wouldn't go that far. But the point is, you can't even I don't want to get into it now. This isn't
Purdue
even
almost
part of
knocked
the
off Virginia. In my eyes, that's credible enough to make the
No,
Final
I'm
Four
not.
right
I'm
there.
disagreeing. I think it's a definite argument, and Purdue was a great team this semester.
Yeah.
I almost said semester. This
Yeah.
tournament.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
Oh, Chuck, what is that?
He's my bracket buddy.
Your bracket Woody?
He's my bracket buddy. He's my good luck charm for March Madness.
It's a parrot.
He's got a name, Larry Bird. He's gonna keep my bracket unbusted. Hey, guys.
Larry Legend.
Hey, who's that?
My bracket buddy, Charles Barkley.
Zip it, Larry Bird. Not you, Larry Bird.
Welcome back. On to the next topic. The NBA playoff field is all but confirmed at this point. There are so many good teams out there this year, but who do you guys think has the best chance of taking it all? One from each conference, preferably.
All right. Well, can you start off with someone else? You keep starting off with me.
I keep starting off with you because you're wearing the Wizard shirt.
Okay, and no, that's it. I mean, I was gonna go East and West. I guess say East Brooklyn Nets. I'm gonna be that guy and say Brooklyn Nets.
I'm in.
West, I mean, we're honestly going to have a debate about this. It's going to be Golden State. Even though there's a lot of teams I think that could be Golden State, it's going to end up being Golden State versus Brooklyn. Because the
Okay.
East is such trash, and all the good teams always choke in the past in the playoffs. And Brooklyn actually is coming off good games and a streak, so they'll take that momentum into the playoffs. So I honestly think that Brooklyn will go all the way.
Well, I'm going to take a realistic approach here. I mean, you think that the Nets are going to beat the Bucks? They have no chance
Tell
of
me who
beating
Bucks have
the Bucks.
right now. Besides
Besides-
Kumbo, tell me the roster right now.
It doesn't. First of all,
I can throw
who do the Nets have
Ryan,
besides
I'm sorry, this isn't
D'Angelo?
your
Who do the Nets have besides D'Angelo Russell and Joe Harris? Who else do they have?
Spencer Dinwiddie, my man.
All right, come on. I mean, it's
Tyler,
not even.
Tyler,
It's not even a
Tyler.
debate. It's not even close.
Tim,
Tyler.
assist me, please.
I can't
Basketball
help believe, though, that you're not agreeing what you said earlier. Now, the coaching staff
Forget about the coaches.
This is the
of the
NBA.
Brooklyn
coaching doesn't
Nets
matter.
against the talent versus other teams doesn't match up. We have a better
Have
system,
they
we better players.
beaten the Bucks this year?
My man, you're talking about one team out of how many possible matchups?
They're a great
in the
team.
whole- The Bucks could lose to another team. The Nets might not
I
even
don't think
ever
so.
play.
I don't think so. They're put together.
What are they ranked right now? I haven't kept up with the NBA.
Right now, I believe they're ranked number 6.
Number 6, they trash.
What? They're ranked number
If
6.
you're talking about
the,
the Nets,
the
the
Nets,
Nets are
the Nets
number
are 6.
six.
Oh, I thought you said the
Milwaukee
Bucks are
is
number
number
6.
Oh, okay. Well, you're making me look bad.
Well, you're the one that said the Nets.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
but
I'm
like, but the point
holding you
is,
to it.
But like, see, they'll be a long way before they actually match up against each other, and you don't know who's going to beat Milwaukee before that.
The Nets could lose before they get to the Bucks.
Exactly, that's the point. Like, you can't compare. Like, you think Milwaukee, it's,
No, that's not what the question is.
Okay,
The
what is the question?
question
I'm
is
confused.
who's going to make it to the finals.
Oh,
You're going
I
to
think
pick
the
one
Nets.
from each conference.
think the Nets.
That's the question.
I think the Nets.
You're still taking the Nets.
I think the Nets.
All right.
Okay, what about the West Coast, you guys? What do you guys think for
Probably
the Western
Golden
Conference?
State.
Golden State. What about you, Tyler?
I'm taking Golden State.
Taking the Nuggets.
You're going to take Denver. Wow.
God.
What makes you think Denver?
This is Jokic, my man. He's an MVP candidate this season. And, they just got a deep team, a lot deeper than you think.
You know what? Utah Jazz. I'm saying it. I changed my answer to Utah Jazz.
The Utah
Utah
Jazz.
Don't ask
Jazz.
me why. I'm just saying Utah Jazz.
Okay, if you're going to say the Utah Jazz, fine. I won't
Spider
question
Mitchell
you.
fan.
I
Do the
won't question
Nuggets
you.
remind you of the Rockets from last year in any way?
Sure.
I don't know. I guess.
Because you kind of have Jokic as the distributor of the ball, and they've got a lot of outside shooters on the Nuggets that is similar to the system they have with the Rockets.
So you think they're good enough to beat the Warriors?
Yeah.
All right.
Joe, what about you?
I'm going to pick the Harlem Globetrotters and Matthew Panico's team in high school who lost all the time.
Really? First of all, no, we're going to stop right now. 30-second time out. We're going to bring that up right now. Can you not? Continue, bro.
I mean,
Okay.
I can't talk to
you-
you. I can't talk to you anymore.
they're always
you
winners
had
and
to
losers,
ask
Matt.
me,
Who would you pick?
Continue.
I mean, who would you
for
pick?
me,
I didn't even-
for the Eastern Conference, my first
I didn't
pick
pick
is
the
I'm going to end up having to give it to the Raptors.
Thank
For
you.
the
I was
Eastern
going to say the
Conference-
Raptors. Thank
No,
you.
no,
Thank
take a
you.
time out.
To be honest,
Before you
as a
finish,
serious-
Go
as a
right
serious
ahead,
answer-
go right ahead.
Can I say
Thank
something?
you.
Can I say
Yes.
something before anyone
As a
says?
serious answer, I agree with you on that. Seriously?
Can I just say
Three of
something?
us,
I just want you to know, for the past 3 years, I don't know what camera I'm looking into. I'm looking at camera 1. For the past 3 years, people have been like, yo, you know what team is going to go far? The Toronto
Every year they
Raptors.
choke in the big games.
And guess
Every
what?
year.
They choke
year.
every single time.
My friend, you've got the claw now. You've got.
What's that mean?
The Claw.
Who's the
You've
claw?
got Kawhi Leonard in town. He's got himself a ring.
Oh,
They're
Okay.
taking advantage of Marc Gasol at the right time and having Kawhi Leonard help get.
I want you to know, we have this
Assist
conversation
to
every
Kyle
year,
Lowry.
and they lose to in the
But
first
now
round.
they've got that championship experience on their team. He is the best defender in the NBA.
All right. Well, I'll remember this when they lose in the first
and
round.
Kawhi has playoff experience beyond.
One player has
Okay.
playoff experience.
No, dude, no. Thought the Raptors have playoff experience. How many Eastern Conference
In the
Finals have
first
they been to?
round,
No.
they lost to the Wizards. They got swept by the Wizards 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And the Wizards
Mr.
are
Wizard,
trash.
Mr. Washington Wizards.
It was at high school, and I literally came home to watch those series. Every single game of those series. They got swept.
Okay. All right.
That's all I'm saying.
And then for,
Am I right? Yes. But will they
Are
say
you
I'm
actually?
right?
Are
No.
you really a Washington Wizards fan?
Yes, I haven't kept up with the NBA this season, so don't even be like.
I know.
I think they
was
should
just
trade John
asking.
Wall. Hot take, but I'm not doing that. Right? We're not discussing that right now.
okay,
But, you know,
for my West Coast team, just to throw this out there, Oklahoma City.
I can see Oklahoma
Yeah.
City.
Yeah, they're underrated.
Even though they're
I
on a
can
little
see
bit of a
that.
slow ride right now, it's going to be a little bit of an issue. And even though there's all these rocks that are being thrown right now, they're not winning as much. No matter what, they're still going to make the playoffs. And I think if they go up against Golden State, they have the capacity to take them down. Steven Adams can stuff DeMarcus Cousins.
Who's
Russell
overrated?
Westbrook.
DeMarcus Cousins, by the way.
Russell Westbrook can shut down Curry, and Paul George can lock down Durant. I think all of that combined is the winning recipe for the Thunder to knock down the Warriors.
I
What do you
mean,
guys think?
any team can beat the Warriors because honestly, the Warriors are overrated.
If anything, I was going to tell you that the Thunder are definitely going to be in the Western Conference Final. If anything, they'll be there.
Honestly, Golden State, the whole offense revolves around the 3-point line, and if you take that away, they have nothing. I mean, the only reason why it's harder now than it was a couple of years ago is because you have like such versatile players like Kevin Durant, Like, even if you take away his three-point shot, he can do so much more. But other than that, they're still a very beatable team. You have DeMarcus Cousins and Draymond Green, who are very overrated and like aren't that good to begin with. So you just need an equally good big man and then nothing. So I mean, I think OKC. I think even the Rockets could make it only because of how great the team. Besides James Harden, how great the team.
You gotta look at the
itself.
West, bro. They're all like a couple games behind each other. It's anybody's game, you know.
You're right.
This is random,
100% right.
but
Yes.
because David's in the back right now, are the Celtics in the playoffs?
The Celtics
talking about
are
the
in the
West Coast.
playoffs.
That makes
yes.
no
They are
sense.
in the playoffs.
They're
That-
going to be in the playoffs.
So do you think they can do anything? Because I know David will want us to talk.
They
about
got
this
a lot of
as well.
issues.
Well, I
Lot
want to
of
make this short
issues.
because
Kyrie.
we're running
Lot
out
of
of time a
issues.
little bit.
Kyrie's gonna leave.
So, the Boston Celtics, I think they can really go far.
What?
Is if they hit the right notes and do the right things, depending all on matchups. The Celtics can make it. It's just got to be a winning recipe, and they have to be consistent all the way through. Consistency is what wins. And I know that Matt wants to make the argument because the Raptors not been consistent for the last 3 years, but maybe losing DeMar DeRozan might break that streak.
So are you taking the Celtics as your pick for that for the
Nope,
for
I'm
that
staying
segment?
with the Thunder
Why not?
versus the Raptors, and I have the Thunder knocking off the Raptors to win the finals this year and take home the championship in 6. And that is going to do it for us here at Off the Court. I'm Brian Mansell with Tyler, Matt, Tim, and Joe signing off. Have a great day, everyone.